Hi, so I was just out here at the park after class before I go in for the night, and I was just going to go over that study in Samuel, the first 3 chapters, and basically I thought that the last one was going to be the last one I did, but then I felt led to do this one, so I thought as long as I'm feeling led, then that's the one I'm going to do. I have a lot of notes, so we'll just start with some of them. No, I already rewrote those. So anyway, that's the second book. I need to get into the first book. I didn't turn to the right place. I'm at a park, which we've already discussed. It's real pretty. The name of the park is Rhodes Ferry Park. It's part of the Cherokee tier of trails, the tier of trails. So I was going to go over like I was saying in Samuel, the first 3 chapters, and so the book of Samuel was written by Samuel, Nathan, and Gad, by the inspiration of God, of course. It's part of a Deuteronomic history. It's a part of a larger collection known as the Deuteronomic history, possibly wrote during the time of King Josiah, and was aimed to provide an account of Israel's history. When Samuel was here, there was what was going on in the background was that there were judges that would judge the people when they had a problem in Israel. They were having conflicts with the Philistines, little battles and wars with them, and conflicts. That time they worshipped in the tabernacle, and the priest at the time was Eli and his sons, and his 2 sons. They were priests at the time that Samuel was, what was going on during the days that Samuel came into the world. Now Eli's son, he was the priest. We learned that his sons were evil, and they did evil before the Lord. In 1 Samuel 1 chapter 2, it said they knew not God. And in 1:13 through 16, they were stealing God's sacrifices. And then in 1 Samuel 2:23, it says they were laying with the women that assembled at the door. And God was not pleased. He was warning Eli to get his sons under control, and Eli was not getting them under control. But while all this was going on, Hannah asked God for a child, and she promised God if he would let her have a son, that she would lend him back to the Lord all the days of his life. And God answered her, and gave her a son, and she named him Samuel, and his name means God hears. And when he was weaned, she brought him to Eli the priest, and Eli took him, and Samuel ministered before the Lord. Samuel is also of the tribe of Ephraim. Ephraim was the younger son of Joseph that was adopted by Israel, and he got the greater blessing than his older brother. And when he said to Israel said to the tribes, "May God make you like Ephraim and as Manasseh." So we know he was a adoptive son, which was his grandson, but he adopted him of Joseph. And then in 1 Samuel 1:17 it says, "Wherefore the sin of Eli's sons were very great before the Lord, for the men abhorred the offering of the Lord. And to abhor something means that you hate it. They hate it to do their duty in the offerings of the Lord. In 1 Samuel 1:18, it said, "But Samuel ministered before the Lord, being a child, girded with a linen ephod." A linen ephod, it symbolized priestly authority and purity. Then in 1 Samuel 2:26, it said, "And the child grew on and was in favor both with the Lord and also with men." Now, the people of Israel were going to Eli and telling him, giving a report of what his sons were doing. And in Samuel 2:22, and then Eli talks to his sons. It says, "No good report that I hear," and warns his son Hophni and Phinehas that they shouldn't do these things. You know, he said, if a man have do wrong to another man, you know, there's a judge to judge between them. But if you do wrong to the Lord, who can stand between you and him? So it's pretty much telling them that they needed to get it together and not be doing these evil things. So in 1 Samuel chapter 2:24 and 25, we see where Eli tried to reason with his sons, and then God sent a prophet or a man of God to Eli, and the man talked to Eli, and he gave Eli the message that the Lord wanted him to hear, and it was judgment. He was going to judge Eli and his sons, and he was rejecting them as the priest. And in 1 Samuel chapter 2:35, the wind is like really wild today. He says, "I will raise up me a faithful priest that shall do according to that which is in mine heart and that which is in my mind." So he told Eli he was rejecting him as a priest, but he was going to raise him up a faithful priest. And then there in chapter 2 verse 30, it says, but now, see, he had told Eli that the Lord chose you out of all the tribes to be his priest, you know, the tribe of Levi. He chose the tribe of Levi, which Eli is the tribe of Eli. He chose you out of all of those tribes to be his priest. But he says, "But now the Lord saith, be it far from me, for them that honor me I will honor, and them that despise me I shall be lightly esteemed." So he's telling him that no longer is he just going to honor them as priests, but he's going to choose him a priest that will be faithful and that will do all that is according to my heart and all that's according to my mind. And then we learn in Samuel 3:1 that the Lord was precious in those days. It was scarce, and there was a lack of revelation, and they were in spiritual darkness, and it was because of the sins of the priests was one of the reasons, and they were worshiping to other gods, which was another of the reasons. And so Samuel 3:7, it tells us here that Samuel didn't know God, and that God had not revealed himself to Samuel. Even though Samuel was working there in the tabernacle for Eli and doing things for him, he didn't have a personal relationship with God yet. So then I was just going to read where God calls Samuel. So it says, "Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, neither was the word of the Lord yet revealed unto him. And the Lord called Samuel again a third time. I'm going to turn this, I don't know if I can. I'm going to turn this around so you don't have to just look at me. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, neither was the word of the Lord revealed unto him. And the Lord called Samuel a third time. So he had been calling out to Samuel, and Samuel thought it was Eli the priest, and it wasn't. It was, and Eli had told him, the next time you hear someone say your name, say your servant is here, you know, what we had him do, basically. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, neither was the word of the Lord yet revealed to him. And the Lord called Samuel again the third time. And he arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for thou didst call me. And Eli perceived that the Lord had called the child. Therefore Eli said unto Samuel, Go lie down, and it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt say, Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. And the Lord came and stood and called as at other time, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for thy servant heareth. And the Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of everyone that heareth it shall tingle. So he tells Samuel what he's about to do, something in Israel, and he says, and when I begin, I will also make an end. And then in 3:13, it says, For I have told him, speaking of Eli, that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. So when Samuel woke up the next day, Eli asked him what the Lord had revealed to him, and he told Eli everything, and he didn't hold anything back from Eli. And Eli answered Samuel and said, Let him do what seemeth good. And Samuel grew, chapter 9, grew, and the Lord was with him, and he did not let none of his words fall to the ground. And all Israel, from Dan even to Beersheba, knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of the Lord. And then there at the end, at 3:21, it said, And the Lord appeared again in Shiloh, for the Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of the Lord. And I just had a few notes. That was all pretty straightforward. We know that God is going to choose Samuel as a priest. He had respect to Samuel, so much respect that every word that Samuel spoke, none of them fell to the ground, and the people knew that he was established to be a prophet. They knew that God had chosen him. So I was just going to go over real quick. How to know God, to know him. You know, I talked a lot about Eli's two sons didn't know him, and Samuel didn't know him at the time before he called him. And to know the Lord, if you want to know the Lord, pray. Praying is a way to get to know him. For him, ask him to reveal himself to you. Study his word. He reveals himself through his words. You know, it said in there a couple of times that the word of the Lord hadn't been revealed to Samuel yet. And then it also said that he revealed himself through his word. So you get in there and you study his word, and God will reveal himself. See his creation. In Romans 1:19 through 20, it says, Nature's order, beauty, and majesty, and complexity reflect God's wisdom, creativity, and glory, providing evidence of a divine creator. And then of course, you can know him by what his prophets had said, which is also in the Bible, of course. But that through his prophets is in Hebrews 1:1 through 3. And I had So we know how God reveals himself. So if you want to know God, study, let him reveal himself through his word, and see his creation. Surrender to his, when he does reveal himself and he calls you, surrender to his call and respond to his call. So those are the ways that we can know the Lord, how he reveals himself to us. You want God to reveal himself to you, you pray, you study his word, and he will reveal himself. That's all I have for now. I'll get back with you guys later, and we'll continue on Samuel, the study of Samuel.